So first of all, can you briefly introduce the Warm Hearts Foundation to the public?
Yes, thank you for the platform. Warm Hearts Foundation is a young women-led organization that started way about 6 years back in 2018. And it was inspired from the fact that women were not on an equal footing of accessing opportunities and resources as compared to men. So it was a call for me since I was a victim of the same. So I said, can't I partner with the community, with fellow women, so that we can try and get women on an equal footing with men. When we say equal footing, it's normally like we are trying to be men, not really. We are actually striving to access the resources, to access the opportunities in the same way men can access the same. So the main purpose was actually fight against gender-based violence, which is basically the differences within the systems of how different genders access opportunities and resources, as well as fighting child abuse, because you cannot talk about a woman minus talking about children. So that's the main reason why we formed it. It's running in Uganda. It's a non-government organization that doubles as a community-based organization. Apparently, we are operating from Uganda, but we look forward to reaching other countries and maybe China as well. But for now, we are in Uganda, East Africa.
Wow, that's so cool. I am really looking forward when you're like expanding your geographical scale. And yeah, I think because more than like Uganda, there people will people are also facing this kind of issues in the world. And I wondering, can you share with us a little about the inspiration behind the founding of Warm Hearts Foundation, or what issue or what maybe a moment motivate you to dedicate yourself in eradication than gender-based violence and the child abuse?
My inspiration to do this startup or to be a founding individual of Warm Hearts Foundation was inspired by the fact that the country loses, the family loses, the community loses. Once one part of the community is eliminated, is alienated from accessing resources. Once women are not accessing what men are doing, what women are doing and men are not doing, those gender differences bringing the economic burden, bringing the socio-economic burden, bringing the political burden. So my inspiration was mainly by the painful statistics of knowing that 1 in every woman is abused every year, is abused every day. And of course, knowing that this also trickles down to the economic burden. Uganda invests almost 500 million each year to eliminate gender-based violence, to address the challenges of gender-based violence and child abuse. So my inspiration to really bring it down to the easy understanding of an ordinary person is a woman loses something when they cannot access the resources a man can. For instance, if my dad gave birth to 2 girls and 2 boys, and he educates only boys and does not educate girls, the community loses, the family loses, the country loses, the global village loses. So my main inspiration is, can the girl child also access these resources? Can they be able to own property? Can they be able to be educated? Can they do the same work the man is doing and access the same payment? Why is it that as a woman, I have to first go through the carpet interviews? Carpet interviews is someone first sexually harassing me because of the fact that I need a job opportunity, which is not normally the case for the men. I really understand that men are going through almost the same challenges, but it's different for a woman because naturally women are created differently due to the fact that we have the different reproductive nature. It's us that bear the children. So if we are breastfeeding, can our challenges within these processes, let's say at our workplaces, is there any space that is reserved to actually help us breastfeed our children? Is the so-called maternal leave practical in our communities? So those are the challenges that inspired me to come and help women ease their lives, to make sure that we can skill them, give them skills, we can counsel them, we can give them the social cycle support that they need in order to equally compete with men.
That is so good. And it's a good transition to the next question. You have mentioned some of the primary challenges faced by women or the vulnerable population in our society. Can you share how Warm Hearts Foundation address those challenges?
Warm Hearts Foundation has a really large mechanism it uses to address gender-based violence and child abuse. And one of the main ones is actually youth livelihood and skilling, training women and enabling them to access sources of income. Poverty worsens gender-based violence. It is very hard to live in a community that is free from GBV and child abuse once the community is economically empowered. So our first main focus is, Can we enable these women access resources? Can we let them have something they can earn from? How have we done this? We train them, we skill them in different ways. One of them is knitting crafts. We help them in knitting. Knitting is very good for families because someone can be able to train their children. It is a skill that can be passed on to other family members. And the other way is hairdressing. We women love looking good. You know, we love doing our hair. So we train women in different disciplines and skills that can benefit them as individuals as well as the community and enable them to earn. And away from that, also backyard farming, because Uganda as a country largely depends on agriculture. I think even over 50% of our GDP depends on agriculture. Over 80% of women are actually employed in agriculture. So we teach them backyard farming. What is backyard farming? A woman is able to grow food or to grow something in the small spaces, even in urban areas, even in some urban areas. A mere veranda can be used to grow a crop through a tin or using a tin. And why do we use plastics? It's because we also use the same mechanisms in order to address the climate change aspect in Uganda. And the other way is we have a safe space for women. Normally, women do not have who to talk to because we are so busy. We are so busy in our homes. We are so busy in our private spaces. So we have a safe space at the offices of Warm Hearts Foundation that normally happens on Wednesday and Thursdays. And so these women come together, and this has actually amplified their voices. They are able to talk to each other. They are able to access counseling services. They are able to create. They are able to innovate. They are able. You cannot amount anything when you're stressed. But this is a space we create for women. Speak out, cry it out. It is okay. It is okay. So we give the woman the ear, and it's through that the aspect of legal empowerment comes in. We have created over 30 legal clinics, community legal clinics, and these legal clinics are used to address the legal-related challenges of women. Let's say if the husband abuses them, if the child is not catered for by the father, these are the issues that we first approach as a community. We don't normally run to the legal premises, but we first as a community find out what is the issue. Can this father be talked to? Can this mother be talked to until these challenges are addressed by us as Warm Hearts Foundation? And maybe the other aspect is we also use SRHR, that is sexual and reproductive health rights, because you cannot talk about a woman minus talking about health rights, because it's health that runs everything. Issues of family planning, issues of HIV prevention, issues of accessing means of safeguarding women in all manner possible. So that is also the aspect that we also use at Warm Hearts Foundation to address challenges of gender-based violence and child abuse.
That is a lot. Can you,
Sure.
among all the issues you're being working on, can you give us an example of the most recent or the biggest project Warm Hearts Foundation has been working on? What's the one that right now you're working on the most?
Okay, right now, really, I've left out a number of issues because of the time aspect, but right now we are running a social enterprise called Classic Organics, and under this social enterprise, we make organic soap. Why are we making organic soap? Soap is it's an essential good. It's an essential commodity for every family. And it's quite a bit expensive in Uganda. I think about $2. And for $2 in Uganda, it's really quite good money because most of the citizens actually live under the poverty line. And so for a family that lives on $1, you cannot sell them soap of over $2. So we make organic soap. And so we make this soap alongside the community, the women, especially the teenage mothers. And I talked about the aspect of unemployment. Yeah, since the unemployment rate in Uganda is also alarming. So the women are available for us to work alongside us to access the soap, number one, access the sources of income by selling the soap, as well as retailing the soap. And finally, we use the soap to address the climate change aspect in Uganda because we use disposable plastics in packing the soap. Yeah, so that's the current hot project that we have at the organization. But then there's also a youth livelihood project that is that we are embracing, and we have just flagged it off at the beginning of February 2024. And that youth livelihood, we are targeting over 1,500 youths, since killing them in different aspects, backyard farming, hairdressing, cosmetology, in pedicure and manicure, in arts and drama, that is performing arts, using the media to make money, and all this is making sure that we improve the lives of Ugandans, we improve the status of Ugandans, we improve the proactiveness of the citizens of Uganda to make sure that each and everyone can be improved in how they live their lives, because you cannot live a fulfilled life when you're not productive.
Totally. Yeah, and I also know that Warm Hearts Foundation emphasize intergenerational empowerment. And how does your organization approach this concept, and what kind of strategies have proven effective in breaking the cycle of violence, intergenerationally, and as a family as a whole, and how to stop it in the further future?
Yes, the intergenerational empowerment kind of strategy. As a team leader, I actually introduced this concept because I didn't want the organization to end with me. Like if Carol as a team leader is not around, then it ends. My kind of idea is with or without me, with or without the current team that is available at the organization can still run. So that's why we train different generations. I talked about the children and the women. And of course, we can't talk about the women man. It's talking about the men because we also have a program that encompasses men. We have male engage. You can't engage a wife minus the husband's perhaps consent or engagement or involvement. So we want the organization to touch different lives. I talked of knitting, why we chose knitting as one of the skillings that we carry out in communities, because a woman can knit also from home when the child is there, and the child can also learn the skill and pick it from the mother and also learn it and also pass it on to the generations to come. And under this kind of strategy, we have a mechanism called train it or train me and I train others. We do not give you our skill unless you commit to train others, because we don't want our skills to stop with you. So we use that also as a sustainability mechanism. And the intergenerational empowerment also comes in under our social enterprise, where we train making the soap, we train different generations, we train women and their children, so that the children also have something to do, also have something they know. Because if you're not employed, the life doesn't have to stop. You can use your head and your hands to still do something for the generations to come.
Thank you. That's so nice. And I know we, as Impactopia, we want to help you with the whole from fundraising to the whole action. So how does Warm Hearts Foundation measure its impact? Maybe that because that's some foundation are looking for or they are focusing on, and what success or key outcomes have you observed through through all the efforts?
Yeah, how do you measure our impact? I talked about how we host a safe space at the organization. This is a safe space. This is one of them. Our safe space started with only 3 members. Those were only 2 girls and 1 teenage mother. But as we talk over the registration booklets and papers, our safe space has grown from 3 members to 50 members that come to attend our safe space, even the online one. So the numbers have grown over the time. This is a physical safe space where members come together to discuss issues that they are facing, especially the victims and survivors of gender-based violence and child abuse. And so how we have identified our impact is people come in to listen in, people come in to solve these questions, and also our partnerships have increased. How did Impactopia also identify Warm Hearts Foundation? I think this is also part of growth. We have grown. That's why we are able to hold some of these interviews. So to me, this is also impact, like the beautiful name that you have as an organization. And also the other impact is the members we work with have been able to enroll more children in schools because of our skillings. A woman gets a skill and is able to earn and is able to take their children to school so that they can acquire education. And also, I can't forget to talk about the fact that the households have increased. They have actually accumulated more household items, more incomes, which I cannot prove now. But I think one thing that is for sure is that our partnerships have grown over the time as Warm Hearts Foundation, and the community that we have impacted have increased, basing on the increase in the number of enrollment for the children and their personal incomes rather. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know you have mentioned some of the partnership, no matter it's with us, Impactopia, or other social enterprise and everything. And I think collaboration definitely is a key in addressing complex social issues. Can you tell us about some successful partnership Warm Hearts has? I know you have mentioned one of the soup making, and is there any other collaboration, and how these collaborations have contributed to achieving your mission? And yeah.
The first collaboration that I really greatly appreciate is the collaboration with fellow civil society organizations, fellow CBOs, fellow organizations, non-profit organizations. Because in the space that we operate in, you can't make it when you're working in isolation. You must partner with a fellow organization. For instance, I told you the aspect of legal empowerment, where we have legal clinics in our communities. Sometimes you find that we do not have enough legal services to address the legal needs of the communities due to limited resources, but we have other organizations that we always run to who come through to solve the cases. At Warm Hearts organization, we do not have safety homes for the survivors of gender-based violence, for the victims of gender-based violence. We don't have where they sleep at in case they are in danger. But sometimes we approach these organizations that can offer some safety, that can offer 3 or 4 days, so that someone can first come through their lives and then first settle down so they can be back to their homes. So we wouldn't have done this if we worked in isolation as Warm Hearts Foundation. And also we've worked with the community leadership. These are the gatekeepers of the community. We can't, in Uganda, you cannot just approach a community without going through the leaders. And it's the leaders that know the communities more than us because they live with the people themselves. So these leaders have helped us also sustain the project. Sometimes we don't have enough space to gather the people for activities. They offer us free space. Sometimes they give us free chairs. So I really cannot run to international partners when I leave our really, really grassroots people, grassroots organizations that have helped us, not forgetting the government. The government has given us the space for us to operate. You know, we don't take it for granted as the organization that we are allowed to operate. We are allowed to carry out our activities, you know, to talk and speak on different TVs and media platforms. Yes, really, it's a credit to them. And of course, some donors, you know, some of them don't even give you monetary resources, but they train you, they build your capacity, maybe 1 laptop or 2 for your work. So we appreciate them, and also those who give in their monetary resources. Kudos to them. And of course, partners like Impactopia, who, you know, Impactopia came out from nowhere without even us parting with our resources to come and record some of this work and put it out there. We do not take it for granted, and we thank every partner that has helped us to get where we are.
That is so nice. Thank you for sharing. And looking forward to future, what kind of collaboration will we need in and what do you want in the future?
Well, Warm Hearts is still growing. We appreciate where we are, and we deeply appreciate and cannot wait to see where we are heading. And so the kind of donors we want are actually any donor that can feed into our work in different ways. One of them can be consultants, because some of the work that we do need expertise. Yeah, so we can have the consultants, you know, for capacity building, for consultations, and we of course the monetary resources. These ones are needed by everyone and maybe every organization, but there would be so much there at Warm Hearts. Anyone who can give us resources that can support the survivors of gender-based violence and actually the abusers. For some of these abusers are also victims of abuse, you know, so it becomes intergenerational. So can we also help the abusers also settle in, you know, through giving them social cycle support, yeah, so that it doesn't happen often, you know. And and these monetary funds that we need most are to set up the safety homes. We don't have safety homes. You can't deal with gender-based violence and don't have a safety home. For someone will come to you and says, you know, my partner beat me like this, my workmate did this to me, then you send them back to their torture chambers. You've not helped them. But if you have the safety homes, then it helps them to actually overcome the gender-based violence. And of course, the you know, other private entities and other organizations, like what Impactopia has done to come up and do this for us as an organization. So the consultants, also maybe items, the laptops and all that, it's all welcome. And whoever does so, of course, they're making a great impact on the globe, not just Uganda, but the globe.
Happy to hear it. And yeah, you have mentioned some of the additional support that you want in the future. And I also like what kind of new to me is that you want to offer help to the abusers. I think that is a quite like not so usual angle, because you're always thinking about protecting the people under like abuse, the victims, not offer help to the like abusers. But yeah, I think it's so like helpful in shaping my whole understanding of how this issue. And I'm wondering, and it will be the last question, time flies, what are your next steps now for Warm Hearts Foundation?
Our next step, I pray for it every day, and I pray it becomes a reality one time, but we want to set up a safety home. I'm repeating this over and over, a safety home for Warm Hearts Foundation, and a training center that can skill different people, different age groups, different populations, that we can train them on how they can be able to access sources of income. I talked about skilling. Right now, we are skilling different people and different populations, but then we struggle because we lack.
Sorry, where were we at? You can keep talking about the next steps.
Yes, and I think you had asked about the let's say the dreams, the dreams or the goals, or our future plans at Warm Hearts Foundation.
Yes.
And so our future plans are really those 2 key ones: safety homes and a training center. Then from then we can discuss other dreams and goals.
That is awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the interview with us. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Well, what do I have to share? I really have to appreciate for you identifying to work with Warm Hearts Foundation. It is a group of amazing young people. I'm glad to partake the leadership a position for the organization for the past 5 years. I appreciate you identifying to work with us, and I hope this video shares someone to foundation like many have done. Because we live in a global village. Once the community is well, then we become well naturally.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making some positive impact to the world. And I think that's super meaningful. And I am happy talking to you. And thank you for your time. And this is everything of our interview. And I wish you have a good night.
Good night to Vicky. Regards everyone at Impactopia. And I also send regards from Warm Hearts Foundation team. They can't wait to see what comes out of all this partnership.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.